Now we turn to number 12 in our series on the book of Psalms. This one's entitled Worship That Never Ends. And I can hear some people with an ironic twist in their mind saying, yes, we've all been in services like that. But no, that's not really what we're talking about this week. We're talking about the way in which we relate to God. And it's not simply repeating the formulas, doing the Lord's Prayer, singing the hymns that we're familiar with, and all the rest of that, praying the same kind of prayers that we always pray, and so on. Worship that never ends is thinking about the kind of person God is and celebrating that. That's the kind of perspective that we should be thinking about. Psalm 134, a brief hymn of praise. Psalm 15 says, who is entitled to come and worship? And that's an interesting thought, because we don't usually put any barriers in the way, but I suppose if we think about it, you can't really worship unless you have a relationship with God. And that is why we do need to think about, what am I doing? What am I saying? Who am I as I come to worship God? In Psalm 101, David sings praises to God for his faithful love. That Hebrew word hesed again, trustworthy love, faithful love. The old version talked about loving kindness. That's the kind of thing we're celebrating here. And then Psalm 104, I will sing to the Lord for as long as I live. I will sing praises to my God my whole life. And that isn't something that is simply a repetition of all the things that we normally do in worship. It's thinking about God, talking to God as to a friend, as we're told in terms of prayer, thinking of what God really is like and being so happy for that. For as we think about who He is, that leads us to spontaneous worship, spontaneous praise. We don't have to plan it out. We don't have to sort of say, okay, let me write down what I want to say because I have to work this all out. No, you just express your delight in God. And that's why it is, in the terms of the title for this time, Worship That Never Ends. Because otherwise, and I put some comments there in the notes about worshiping God and it becoming tedious. And if we simply kept on saying, God, you are good, God, you are wonderful, God, you soon run out of synonyms for the character of God. No, worship is now. It's in the here and now. Here in this airport, I'm thinking about God and wanting to have Him in my life, as I'm sure you do, wanting to think about all His goodness, all the things He's done for you in your life. As I think back to my life, all the things that God has done for me, all the ways in which He has blessed me, that is a worship that never ends. It's a thankfulness. It's a prayer without ceasing, as Paul also says. It's not that we go on saying and saying and saying. It's that mental link to God where we're saying, God, I am just so pleased for all the things that you have helped me with, and my family and your gifts. The fact we have this opportunity to live in this world and to come to know God. What is the point of life? What are we here for? I would want to suggest, leaving aside all the philosophers, to say the primary point is to come to know God, to know Him as He truly is, to see in the face of Jesus the character of God, the one who says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Now, let's remember that. Our worship never ends because we are just so delighted to know God and trust him as our dearest and closest friend and Saviour. God bless you as you study.